Here.
and myself. If we can all please stand for the flag salute. Estelma, will you lead us?
Ready, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you all for coming tonight. 4.0, adoption of agenda. 4.1, adoption of the agenda is requested as presented with addendum. On the minutes from April 8th, there's a correction to 7.1 and 13.6. Also, one matter is being removed from the agenda, 11.4.
A motion?
It's 11.3, is it?
I'm sorry?
It was 11.4.
11.4. Motion?
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Sabrina Gomez, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Are there any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. 5.0, consent calendar. 5.1, approval of the board meeting minutes for April 8th, 2025 with the corrections.
Motion?
Second?
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Freddie Espinoza, is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 5.2, approval of release warrants dated April 3rd, 2025 in the amount of $479,538.38. April 10th, 2025 in the amount of $428,385.07.
Motion? Second?
We have a motion by Freddie Espinoza, a second by Merced Zamora, is that correct?
Correct.
Are there any questions?
Just one question, if we could get, I know the electrical, solar panels are up at Hester. If we can get a new bill, what's coming for that, would be great. I see it on here, but I'm not sure which site it is, so maybe.
Site-specific bills?
Yeah, just for the solar panels that are just been put up. How's that affecting us? My mic is off. Everybody. Okay, one at a time, that's better.
All right, Mike, we're gonna do a quick little microphone check. This is a beautiful thing. You know, everybody knows with technology and education, things happen. So we're gonna do a quick one. Mike, I'm gonna start with mine. Got a check, check, check. We're good? Check, check. Okay, Mrs. Lopez? Should be.
No, that's on.
Check, check.
Up is on.
Check.
Check.
Turn it the other way,
What a beautiful day to be,
Receiver. There you go. Ready?
Better?
Better.
Yay.
Test 1, 2.
That sounds good.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Oh, me too?
Yes,
Beautiful day, right? Oh, there you go.
very good. Okay,
We're in a better place.
okay, back to 5.2. We have a motion by Freddie Espinoza, second by Merced Zamora. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 6.0, awards, presentations. 6.1, student board member report.
So it is a beautiful day out here. Everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Everyone's good? Very good? Okay. Good evening, Board President Lopez, school board members, Superintendent Mendez, and school administrators, teachers, and community members. My name is Emmanuel Lopez, and I am the Associated Student Body President at Farmersville High School. Where did I leave it? Oh. It is my pleasure to be here tonight as a representative of the entire student body at FHS. Tonight, I would like to share some activities happening at Farmsville High School. In athletics, boys baseball and girls softball both travel to Summit Charter Collegiate Academy in Porterville. Their next home game will be home on Thursday against Orosi High School, both games being played at 4. Our Lady Aztecs are having their second day of cheer tryouts. Today's the second day from 6 to 8 p.m. They are having their great success when it comes to girls going to try out, and in their season, the cheer are. Sorry, let me repeat that. I'm sorry about that. Our Lady Aztecs are having their second day of cheer tryouts today from 6 to 8 p.m. They are having great success when it comes to girls going to try out, and in the season, they cheer on the football Aztecs, both home and away. Talking about football, they are also hosting classes after school and learning new plays, positions, and studying last year's seniors to fill in their spots. Even though the past 2 years haven't been what we've expected, they're looking forward to this offseason to change that. On to extracurricular activities. The Farmsville FFA chapter is proud to have taken 14 members to the State Leadership Conference held in Sacramento. Numerous of those members served in leadership positions with our Courtesy Corps members being Daniela Renteria, Genesis Juarez, and Ramon Munoz. We also had 2 delegates that represented Farmsville FFA, which are Karina Rita and Ulysses Garcia. Additionally, Sarah Garcia was elected to serve as the FFA ambassador. The chapter also had their last FFA meeting of the year with an egg hunt and the selection of the 2025-2026 chapter officers teams, which will also be announced at the annual FFA banquet being held on May 21st. Additional information will be coming out regarding the banquet. In closing, I would like to thank the school board and Superintendent Mendez for the opportunity to share the great things happening at Farmsville High School. Go Aztecs.
All right, thank you.
Please excuse me, but while I will be leaving a tad bit early, have a great night and thank you for having me here.
All right. Great job, thank you.
Sorry for the messing up.
No, no.
It'll be better.
We all do that, that's okay. And just a quick thing, Sarah Garcia just recently won from K-Jug Luke Bryan tickets. She was nominated by her teachers, and she won that. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
You Luke Bryan fan?
Who's that? Must be a girl thing.
Well, I think she'll come back living country, let me tell you.
Very good
It happens.
country singer.
6.2, Snowden Elementary School and Freedom Elementary School update.
Turn these on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board, members of
evening.
the public, my colleagues. My name is Mr. Navarez, Principal of Snowden Elementary, and I'm pleased to give you an update today. Today, we're going to go over some at-a-glance data, some state tests, PLC RTI, work that the teachers are working on, Young People's Concert, Snowden Chess Club, our affirmations for PBIS, BICE, and a K-3 transition update. So we are a small but mighty school transitioning from 2-3 to K-3. Currently, we have about 192 students in grade 2, 162 in grade 3, 354 students total. About half, 48% of those students are English learners, and about 40% of those students attend the after-school program. 17 classroom teachers, a music teacher, PE teacher, 1.5 reading specialists, a specialist that we share with Hester and Snowden, SPED teacher, social worker, counselor, academic coach, and 100% committed staff, just in case I missed anybody in there. Our mission is to ensure all students achieve high levels of learning. So by all, we mean those who will one day be independent adults. By high levels of learning, we mean grade level and above. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our manpower team. So our custodian, Jesus Romo, our lead custodian, Victor Flores, JT, our night custodian, and our site tech, Ben Zhang. These guys, all these gentlemen, create the conditions for learning every day. So I want to make sure that I recognize the people behind the scenes with that. So let's get into the CAS data, test data. These were our scores from 3 years ago, 2021, 2022. You can see we had about 17.5% in ELA meeting the standard, about 13% meeting the standard in mathematics. That was 3 years ago. 2 years ago, ELA kind of stood the same, 17.5%. In math, went up almost 10%, 22.95%. And that is a testament to the work that the teachers are doing over at Snowden Elementary School. That was 2 years ago. Last year, we have 24% meeting the standard in ELA, up 6.63%, and up 1.27% in mathematics. So we're going in the right direction. So I think this is a very nice visual of Farmersville Up, of what that looks like. So, all right, research-based practice. Before I get into the work that we're doing, I want to kind of get a little bit into the research. What you see there is an effect size. The arrows are pointing at the numbers. The main idea I want you to get here is that 0.4 is a year's worth of growth. I don't know if you can see. I brought my little laser, but it wouldn't point onto the TV. So that is 1 year's worth of growth, 0.4. Remember that. For any best instructional practice or practice that you implement in a school, you're looking at 0.4. The research says that's going to get you 1 year's worth of growth. An effect size of 1.6 is 4 times the growth, because 4 times 4 is 16, right? So we want to be in that blue area. That's the desired area of best practice that we want to implement. Anywhere between 0.4 and a 1.6 is going to get at least a year, up to 4 years of growth in 1 school year. The 12-point district focus that Mr. Mendez gave to us at the beginning of the year, and actually, no, I think it was prior as his assistant superintendent of curriculum, you have that there. I want to reference AIM number 9, Tier 1 instruction, all students receive. If you see there, Tier 1 instruction falls within that category of 0.4 and 1.6. So that is a best practice that we are currently implementing. That is our AIM number 6 set forth by the superintendent, Mr. Mendez. AIM number 7, RTI, is also in that zone. That is number 7 on your list there. That has an effect size of 1.2. That's 3 times the growth in 1 year. So if we do RTI right, then we can expect 3 times the growth in 1 school year for our students. AIM number 6, collective teacher efficacy, the PLCs, that's 4 times the growth, if we can do that and go in the right direction. The district, the board, I want to thank you for sending us to the CAPS training in Simi Valley, because that's what that is all about. That's what we're being trained on when we go to CAPS and when we do our district professional developments. So we're looking for 0.4 to 1.6, PLC, RTI, Tier 1 instruction, and I'm going to kind of go a little deeper into those now. So PLCs, the work of a PLC is founded upon 4 fundamental questions. I can see here, the first one is, what do we want our kids to learn? Number 2 is, how do we know if they've learned it? And number 3, what are we going to do about it if they don't learn it? And then number 4, if they did learn it, then what do we do with them? So those are the 4 fundamental questions that we work with. The first 2 questions actually have to do with the PLC work. So teachers will collaborate to select a set of guaranteed standards. Standards that we want to guarantee students will learn. Not guarantee that they're going to teach it, but guarantee that students will master it. And these guaranteed standards are based on A couple of things. Prerequisite information. Is this standard going to help this child be ready for the next grade level? Endurance. Is this standard going to help this child throughout the course of their educational career? Assessed. Is this standard going to appear on state tests so that you can see growth on our tests? And is this standard going to have leverage? Is it going to apply to other subjects such as science and social studies as well? The teachers work together to choose a set of standards that meet that criteria, and they're working to guarantee that students learn that in the early elementary grades. Question number 2 is, how do we know if they've learned it? Teachers are creating what's called common formative assessments. Those are like short quizzes to check and see if a student learned it or not. And these are the 2 questions that drive the work of a PLC. The next 2, question 3 and 4, question 3 is, what are we gonna do if they didn't learn it? So basically, who's gonna get extra time for those guaranteed standards to learn that? Because we know not all kids learn at the same rate. Some learn quicker than others, some need more time. Question 3 is about how we're gonna give them more time. Question number 4, how do we extend or enrich their learning for those that did get it? So if you got it, we're gonna extend you, we're gonna challenge you, we're gonna enrich you. We may get the arts, the music, or some kind of arts in there. So that's question number 4. This is the work that is done every Monday morning during late starts. Let's get into RTI. Just went over PLC, now let's get into RTI. Remember, RTI, PLC is that 1.6 effect size, 4 times the growth. RTI is 1.3. So I'm gonna get into that and the work that we're doing at the school. Tier 1 instruction. This is grade level standards. All students receive this, and it's delivered by the teachers. Not by teachers' aides, not by specialists. This is delivered by the teachers. What is it? It's high quality core instruction in the classroom. 0.4 and higher the first time around. That's the expectation when we're teaching kids the first time around, is we're delivering the best practice. If we don't deliver the best practice, then there's gonna be a lot of kids that don't get it, and we will overwhelm our Tier 2 intervention system, which I'm gonna go over here in a little bit. The focus is on prevention, and I just talked about that, right? We wanna prevent kids from needing intervention. We wanna have best practices the first time, that way they learn it the first time. But we know that there's gonna be kids that don't learn it the first time, so then we go to Tier 2. And Tier 2 is for those students that need that extra time. This is also grade level standards. The one difference is that this is the guaranteed standards only. Tier 1 could be guaranteed standards and all the other standards as well. Tier 2 is just the guaranteed standards. They're only getting time on those guaranteed standards. So about 10 to 20% of students will need extra time and support. And Tier 2 is also delivered by teachers. The reason why is because they know the standards, they know the learning targets, they know the academic vocabulary, they know the thinking level that's required for these lessons, they know the interventions. They are best skilled to provide this level of intervention. The focus, like I said, is guaranteed standards. And every teacher will monitor, well, let me say that again. Every teacher will give the same CFA, or common formative assessment. All students are monitored by all teachers in the grade level through the PLC process, okay? I am pleased to announce that our second grade teachers conducted an RTI deployment the week before Easter break on math regrouping and addition and subtraction, which can be a tough skill. We have to borrow and all that. They're teaching them high leverage practices to help kids master those standards. That way, when they go to 3rd grade, they have that foundation already. And of course, the expectation is that we send these students to Freedom so that they can hit the ground with their feet running. Then we have Tier 3. This is intensive intervention. This is not grade level standard. This is foundational skills. It's our 1 to 5% of students who need that intensive support. This is delivered by specialists. So what is it? It's intensive, often small group, one-to-one instruction. More frequent, we're looking at about 4, 5 times a week, like every day, 15 to 30 minutes a day for these students. And what's the focus? Kids who cannot read, kids who cannot write, kids who cannot calculate, English learners who cannot speak the English language, and even students who display behavior needs in the school. Tier 3 for those students. So an example of support with a specialist could be a reading specialist, and thank you for approving the reading specialist position, or actually that was for the state, but I know the LCAP that's coming up, we have some reading specialists coming up for the other sites as well. Speech pathologist is another specialist that the kids see, and occupational therapists are just examples of the one-to-one services for Tier 3. I am pleased to announce that our reading specialist and academic coach are working on assessing incoming students from Hester so that we can begin Tier 3 reading interventions day 1 next year. And I want to thank Ms. Spas and her team for allowing us to go over there and begin that intervention work for that. So that's Tier 1, 2, and 3 RTI intervention. Remember our scores? 24, that's where we're at from last year, okay? So I looked at a district who's currently implementing RTI PLC, similar to the demographics here at Farmersville, down in Santa Ana, a city, Tustin, I don't know if you've heard of it or whatnot. These are their scores. Similar, actually, I think they have a higher rate of English learners. So more than half of their students meeting the standard in ELA, and over about a third of those students, just under a third, are meeting the standard in mathematics. They have a magnet school, and their magnet school is doing this well. So one thing that comes to mind is, why not Farmersville, right? That's the thing that we were talking about last time. If we implement these research-based practices, 1.4, right, 1.6, remember those numbers, RTI, that effect size, that should be the expected result for us. So how do we get there? Well, last year, our teachers, our whole team was trained in Kagan structures. So this is Tier 1. When we talk about that best level instruction, so kids get it the first time and they don't need that intervention, this is what we're talking about, using Kagan structures. They were trained last year. Thank you for approving that training for the teachers. I'm gonna give you a little insight and some video clips of some of that in action. So Kagan describes student engagement through the acronym PI. So the P being positive interdependence. Kids need to depend on each other in a positive way to get the task done. Individual accountability. Does everybody have a job to do? Equal participation. Does everybody get a turn to do that job? Simultaneous interaction, probably the most important one, everybody's doing something. Because if a child's not doing something, they will find creative ways of entertaining themselves. So this fits in line with our multi-tiered systems of supports, meeting the academic, social, emotional, and behavior needs of our kids. So what you're gonna see here is you're gonna see our Kagan coach that we invited back after they were trained, and this coach supported teachers in the classroom. And you're gonna see a video of her teaching the kids a cheer. Hopefully the sound works. Okay. Mike, is the sound gonna?
Can you do the chair?
Yes. I hope the sound works. If not, I'll just. Anyway.
Okay.
Can you hear
You're
it?
gonna make this sound. You're gonna go like it's static, right?
Can we turn up the volume?
Okay. And you're gonna make this sound. You're gonna go like it's static, right? Everybody do that. And I want you to say, "Good job, good buddy." All right. So everybody do that. Ready? Go. Good job, good buddy. Good job. That's a truck driver cheer. Good job.
Truck driver cheer. That's what that is. So that is a huge part of meeting the social emotional need of the students. After they interact with each other, they're expected to cheer each other. Positive interdependence, right?
Okay. And you're gonna make this sound. You're gonna.
I chose this next clip of our students Ezek and Riley. The one thing about student engagement is that the teacher can't be everywhere at once, so it's helpful if kids coach each other. So you're gonna see an example here of Ezek coaching Riley.
Do a cheer.
And then for this last clip, I actually have Nico Sanchez here. He's actually son of Mr. Sanchez, our principal at the Farmersville Junior High. And Ember Hoyt, she is the daughter of Megan Hoyt, third grade teacher at Snowden. And they're in a dual language class, and I just kind of want to highlight a little of what they're doing here really quick.
Sun is hot. You were like this. Sun is hot.
I want to point something out really quick and and just pause it here real quick to see what's going on. There's a lot going on here. So positive interdependence. You can look at the countenance and face of Nico there. Looks like he has a positive expression. Would you say his social emotional needs are being met in this moment? I would say yes. Individual accountability. Do they have a task, an academic task? The teacher has created an academic task that he's holding in his hand. Equal participation. He has his turn. The job of Ember is to listen, right? So we're practicing our listening and speaking skills. That's a standard, an English language standard for our English learners. That's in play. A social skill. They don't just talk over each other. It's my turn to talk, then it's your turn to talk. And then there's obviously the content, right? So there's a lot going on there. Simultaneous interaction. They're not the only two engaged in this activity. You ever get that student that wants to share all the answers and they get frustrated because they gotta wait for that student who's taking forever to answer? This solves that problem because now they don't have to wait. Now they can share all they want with their partner, and when they're done, they go on to another partner and keep sharing. You're maximizing instructional time instead of wasting time when that child could be sharing and engaging with other students. So I'll just share that.
You were like this. Excelente. The sky is blue.
So that particular structure is called quiz, quiz, trade. There's hundreds of structures that teachers have to choose from, okay? So a lot going on there, and that is tier 1 instruction. So that is the work that the teachers are doing in their classroom. Let me get this back over here. Sorry, I gotta go this way. All right, almost done. Just yesterday, we had what's called our PBIS flight school. And basically 4 times a year, after vacations, we do campus tours and remind kids of the campus expectations. So it ensures every student knows what's expected of them in every area of the campus: restrooms, hallways, cafeteria, playground, etc. It promotes a proactive behavior management system. It prevents behavior through explicit instruction and modeling rather than punitive discipline. It fosters a positive, safe school culture, a sense of community and shared values where all students know we all follow the same rules. And it supports routine and predictable systems. So it helps students who thrive on structure, especially those with ADHD, autism, or trauma backgrounds. Next, this was really a team effort. We have our PBIS affirmations. We believe in the great I am statements and speaking I am statements about our students. So it promotes positive self-identity where students see themselves as intelligent, kind, capable, and it reinforces their self-worth. It creates a culture of belonging. Every student is represented in a visible, meaningful way, which shows that each individual is valued. It strengthens emotional resilience. Daily reminders of their strengths help students to build confidence. It builds community and school pride. When affirmations are displayed throughout the campus, they contribute to a shared culture of positivity, kindness, and mutual respect among students and staff. They get to take their affirmation home with them when they leave Snowden, and it provides a lasting reminder of the support and belief they experienced in Farmersville Unified School District. It encourages family engagement. Parents and guardians can see and celebrate their child's affirmation, potentially sparking positive conversations and support at home. And the banner becomes a personal memento of their time here at Snowden, something students may cherish for years. Our students are going to be taking a concert tour or a field trip to the concert, the Young People's Concert. So since 1959, Tulare County Office of Ed, Sequoia Symphony Orchestra, has partnered to share music, symphonic music, with the students of Tulare County. Students in grade 3, music with Miss Alstead, spend the school year learning to play the recorder. This culminates in spring at the Fox Theater as they play their instruments along with the orchestra. This was set up by our music teacher, Miss Nora Alstead. Next, we have our chess club. Cognitive benefits of, we know the benefits of chess, right? It forces players to analyze positions, anticipate consequences, plan ahead. Competing in the cities of Clovis, Fresno, Corcoran, and Farmersville gives students and families something to celebrate, puts Snowden and Farmersville on the map. They are led by their chess coach, Mr. Alex Sanchez, our 3rd grade teacher. And this year, Snowden has placed first as a team 2 times, once at Farmersville Junior High School tournament and another at Corcoran. almost done. We had a really good turnout for PICA this year. The focus was on early literacy development, equipping parents with practical tools to support reading and language growth at home, which is critical for success at the elementary level. So we want to help families build their home environments that support consistent learning habits, especially in reading. We're able to build stronger relationships between school staff and families, increasing the trust and collaboration. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Mendez for attending the graduation ceremony and encouraging parents and with some very nice words during the ceremony. We did have a potluck, and there was one parent, I think it was one of the, I don't know if she was a restaurant vendor here, but she bought a big old pot of pozole for everybody to eat, and we all had dinner together. And last but not least, our K-3 transition. Currently, we've ordered books for K-1 grade levels. We've had 2 kinder registration nights with Hester, 2 K-3 transitional forums with Superintendent Mendez, 2 at Snowden and then 2 at Hester. Submitted work orders for facilities for when you came and visited the other day, for the play structures and getting ready for kindergarten. Bought me some sneakers ready for next year. And then reading specialists, I think I mentioned that they are currently assessing the incoming first and second graders from Hester. So with that, any questions?
Quite a bit to swallow there at one time.
Yeah, yeah. So,
It sounds
Mr.
like,
Zamora?
None. Good, thank you.
welcome.
I do have a question.
Yes.
The tiers,
Mm-hmm.
you guys implemented the question to see, or like, have you guys checked the students to see if they did, or have you guys implemented it already? Like the whole structure of that?
Which,
Uh,
tier
like
1, tier
tier-
2, and tier 3?
Mhm.
So tiers 1 and 2, yes.
Oh, okay.
For tier 3, there are teachers who actually do provide those foundational skills in their classroom during center time, but I'm very happy about the support they're going to be getting with the reading specialists so that we can have tier 3 groups of reading groups so that they can focus more on the grade level standards.
And then, when it came to part 2 of that, and you had to see where the kids were at, what was like what was the ratio, like what it looked like versus like how many of the students held on to what was taught on, is it okay we bring back the slide?
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
kinda wanna see
sure.
it to help me understand more,
Was it?
or be able to speak
Tier
it
2?
correctly. Could we, so, yeah, so like on,
What was it, the questions?
so could we go to the yellow, green, and red?
The pie, well, let's look at the pie chart.
Yeah,
There.
so,
Is that what you're talking about? Oh.
yeah, so 0.4 is basically what the teachers are teaching, right? Like the core curriculum.
It can be what teachers are teaching or any practice in school. So I don't know if you can see, there's things in there, for example, teacher credibility has an impact. So if you have a good reputation as a teacher, that alone is going to impact student achievement. God bless you. Let me see here, classroom discussions. There are things on there, and you know, I'm glad you bring that up because the things we want to avoid, right, are in the red. And you can see there's boredom on there. There's suspensions on there. Now, of course, you know, suspensions are always a last resort. You know, they're necessary. Sometimes they're necessary. But the research is clear that when students are not in school, it's not just a 0, it's a negative. They're actually unlearning. So it's really important that we focus in that blue area. So I think the question that you're asking me, Mr. Espinoza, is when the teachers are implementing that tiered system, how many of those practices are falling in that area? Is it-
Let me fix my question,
Okay.
because I don't think I'm saying it right. I almost fell asleep. Then go to the next line, if we go to it. Yeah, so
Again?
then, I guess my question is, we've implemented this program, so there was like a part of the program where, you're gonna see, okay, how many kids actually held on to just the core information, and then now there's this next part, right? Because we don't have tier 3 just yet, so we only have tier 2. Is it okay we go to the next slide? I guess my question is, how many kids did you see were actually comprehending of what they were learning, and then how many kids fell into tier 2 where the teachers had to like better focus on these kids to make sure they understood what they're learning? I guess I'm just trying to see, like, since you guys have started it, what is it? What were the
Percentages?
Yeah, what were the percentages? What were the
30%
facts,
of ours.
I guess?
Talk to us a little bit about maybe
Yeah.
Elitely. When you go through your CFAs, your common formative assessments, that allows you a smaller time frame for you to recognize how many students are getting it from a tier one perspective, how many students need to be, you have to do a response to intervention depending on the percentage.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So that all depends on the standard, and it all depends on the thinking demand, the cognitive demand, the brain power demand. So our first one that we gave, they did wonderful. I want to say around 90% of our students were getting the learning target. So when I say the learning target, that's a part of the standard. So they're not teaching, in the past, we would just teach the whole standard, right? And we wouldn't figure out what part of the standard did they miss out on. Now teachers are breaking apart that standard into individual learning targets, and they're teaching those learning targets and assessing those learning targets. So depending on the learning target depends on how they're doing. The first one they did really good, 90%, and the target was on asking and answering questions, I believe, and depending on the grade level, right, second or third grade. You get into those higher, what we call DOK levels, depth of knowledge, thinking levels, then you start to see a struggle. Then you really start to see where we need to help them with those abstract thinking skills. We need to be providing supports and scaffolds, graphic organizers. That's where the teachers really come together and figure out, okay, they're not getting this. We know this is a more difficult learning target. How do we go about helping them? And if there's PD, right? So what professional development do we need so that we can get better at this level of instruction to help our kids master this standard, this
Nice.
learning target?
And what were those? What are those things that they're struggling with that you guys saw? Like, was it like, is it? I guess, I don't know how the program works, so it's kind of more hard. Is it like, I guess if there was like 3 steps, one's like you said, comprehending, right? And then one is like speaking, right? Or I don't.
Typically, what we see, and this is generally throughout all grade levels, including ours, is those higher level thinking skills. So a question that asks the students to find an answer right in the text, I can go back and I can find exactly where it's at. That they typically don't struggle with, because you can find the answer right there. The ones that they typically struggle with is the one where you can't find the answer there. You have to take information from the text, infer, use your own background knowledge, put that together to formulate your answer, then choose the correct answer from a list of multiple choice, or write it out on a constructed response. Those are the ones that we're seeing they need help with.
Right. Okay, that makes
I hope
sense.
that answers your question.
Yeah, that did. Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's an excellent program.
Yeah.
Critical thinking and letting them speak and teach each other, and then you rotate them around with a whole other person, because
Yeah.
everybody has just different personalities, so that's great. That's amazing. It's really good.
Thank you.
No questions. Excellent slides. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good information, great information. When the children get to speak to other students, it gives them different perspectives. So that way, they recognize early that not everyone thinks exactly the same.
Right.
So I think that's a really great thing to have. Thank you for the great job you've
I have
done.
a question before you close out.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is a program that we send teachers to be able to understand and implement in their classrooms?
So I went over a lot. Which particular program were you talking about?
The whole intervention.
So RTI?
Yes.
So that is something where the principals last year, I want to say, was it last year, all principals went and were trained in this RTI system. Mr. Ochoa has gone with us to, and it's not just RTI, it's PLC and RTI together. So there has been professional development by a gentleman, Joseph Ayanara from Solution Tree. He's come the past 2 years to present professional development in this work, PLC work and RTI work. So they are receiving that training from a district level, from a site level. Monday mornings, they'll work together. When we come back, or when I come back from my training, I do work with my guiding coalition, and that coalition then presents to the teachers during a staff meeting or during a Monday morning and say, okay, this is what the research says, this is what we learned, this is what you're already doing, right? So continue to do this part. You're not really changing anything, but this is the work that we're doing. Let's focus more on this area or whatnot.
Which leads me to the next question. I mean, because we're all creatures of habit, so we like to do things a certain way.
Mhm.
And whenever there's change, sometimes it's a little bit difficult.
Right.
And especially if the kids are not picking it up if they're in the tier 3.
Right.
So do we I'm not saying that teachers will resort back to what they were used to before and forget about this program because it's new. Are we following it up, making sure that they express their struggles and maybe had to redirect and make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing?
That's an excellent question. And so this actually isn't new. This is actually something that's been, since I want to say 2004, is when it's been, so it's kind of gone and come depending on who's going to implement it with fidelity. And I believe Snowden knows that we are going to be, they just want to be supported. They just want to know that if we're going to implement something, let's make sure we commit to it, support us with it, and then, you know, the rest is history. In regards to teachers, you say resorting back to, I'm glad you bring that up because it's the teachers that come up with collective commitments. Through that PLC process, they determine, we agree that we're going to collaborate. We agree that these are all our students, not just your students and not just my students. I think Joseph INR would call them independent contractors, right? When you refuse to work with your colleagues, right? You're like an independent contractor. We don't have independent contractors. We're a team. We work together as a team together. So the teachers agree to these collective commitments and they hold each other to these collective commitments. And so I come in support when the team needs support in that area.
Nice.
Okay.
Carlos, anybody have anything else? Carlos did a fantastic job presenting, collecting all the information, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Yeah,
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Dr. Monroy?
Dr. Mawai, did you say it to my Google? Okay. All right. All right, don't peek because I'm going to show you my emails. Okay, so,
And don't display it live.
yeah. Is it displayed? Oh, okay. There you go. It's here, but I think, did you want to duplicate it, Dr. Monroy? Sure. Or just connect?
As long as it displays it on the screen.
Okay, so we go duplicate.
I'm a Mac person. I apologize. Not sure what that means.
Yeah. Mike, it goes back to, you got to keep it? So keep changes here? Oh, you can't see it? All right, so duplicate these displays. I'm sorry.
And keep changes.
Keep changes.
There you go.
Okay.
And
I'm not going to touch it.
Ah.
Minimize that.
There you go. Click.
Nice.
Woohoo! All right, good evening, governing board, community members, colleagues. My name is Cindy Monroy, currently serving as Freedom Elementary's principal. Before I begin, I'd like to thank the board and my colleagues for making my first year at Farmersville Unified School District a great one. A huge learning experience. And so this year, I took the year to kind of get a sense of what's going on campus, what we have, what systems, what processes, the sense of community and culture on our campus. So what you'll see in my presentation today, and I know it's cutting it off a little bit, I'm not sure why, but you'll notice just the community with intent and purpose that we build community, whether it's bringing our teams together, our students, families, community members. That was the idea. All the new events that we implemented this school year were with the focus of how do we build a positive culture at Freedom Elementary. So to start off, this is our Freedom Elementary staff, and I must say we have a pretty strong, effective group of teachers who really focus on improving their practice. And I want to thank Mr. Nevarez for really laying the foundation for my presentation today, because a lot of what he shared was founded on the foundation of multi-tiered systems of support. And so I'm going to skip to that real quick. before I go over the data, he talked a lot about multi-tiered systems of support, and this is the lens through which I see how a school should be run. This is my personal perspective, looking at this framework on what are the important pieces of a system of a functional, effective school site. And so when you look at this, and everything that falls under multi-tiered systems of support are what Mr. Nevares talked about, RTI, so the different layers of tiers of support, professional development, teamwork, curriculum design, PBIS, community engagement, and school and community collaboration. So these are the pieces that we did focus on this year. And so when we got together with the staff, we looked at the data at the beginning of the year. What I will share with you is just at a glance data from the dashboard that could be accessed on the California dashboard. But with the staff, we dove in deeper and we looked at the different levels and how far from meeting standard each student was on the different areas of the CASP. And based on that, collectively, we came up with an aim, a focus for what the school was going to focus on to make sure that we supported our students at tier 1, so that foundational universal level. And so across the year, we have not only implemented that tier 1, which focuses on supporting all students must learn essential grade level standards, but also all of those universal systems, screeners, supports, whether it's academic, behavior, social, emotional, we provide it to everyone. And some of our grade levels, 4th and 5th, took it up a notch in the spring, and they also implemented tier 2 practices and tier 3 practices. So I won't go too into detail because Mr. Nevares has already touched on it, but I just wanted to give you that foundation that is the scope and the lens through which I look at our school. So now I'm going to take us back to our data. So at a glance, this is what we scored and how our students performed on the SBAC last spring. We haven't yet tested for the SBAC this school year, but we will start in a couple of weeks. LPAC for language development is complete. California Spanish assessment is currently open right now, and we've been testing this week for 4th and 5th grade. So in English language arts, as you can see, we scored in the red zone, which is not where we want to be. But it's a good starting point because once we looked at where we are, when you look at it at a glance, it doesn't really tell you where each student is. When you dive into individual data, they might be 1 or 2 points away. When we looked at individual data for each color section, we noticed that the majority of our students fell in the yellow, okay? But because the points accrued were not high enough, we fell in the red as a school overall. So that said, most of our teachers have really dove into focusing on literacy supports, and so something along with what Mr. Nevares was sharing, that a lot of those are foundational skills. So there's been intervention for that. We've done tier 3 intervention with our instructional team, our academic coach, and our instructional staff, and some of our teachers. And then we have also done tier 2 literacy intervention in 4th grade. For mathematics, we also scored in the red last spring. In this one, this is another higher focus area. We scored 106.7 points below standard. Again, when we dove into the data and we looked at it closer, we noticed that students are not too far off from either meeting standard or exceeding standard in some areas, but as a whole, we just didn't score where we needed to score, okay? English learner progress, we did reclassify 16 students this year, which we will be honoring at our last academic awards assembly. And so our students, as of now, 44.2% are making progress. Unfortunately, some of those that are still coded as English learners have demonstrated a decline, which for that reason, this year, we have a consultant that has been working with a cohort of teachers to pilot integrated ELD strategies and routines. And then the hope and the idea and the plan for next year is that the other 2 cohorts of teachers will continue on a module cycle where we learn how to implement effective academic language strategies. For social, emotional, and behavior, our chronic absenteeism declined 1.1%. So this is the only area that we really want to see decline because we want to make sure that our kids are at school. We have noticed that we sustained in the 93 to 95% in attendance. And a lot of the issues that happened this year had to do with the cold and flu season, but also with the immigration situation that occurred earlier on in the year. So I will be talking a little bit about some of the programs and events that we included this year to promote active attendance and participation. Suspension rate, as we began to implement accountability systems for behavior, you may notice an increase in suspension the following year. I'm anticipating an increase due to the fact that we definitely focused on accountability measures as we developed our system for positive behavior, but as well as holding students accountable for those ed code violations that are suspendable. Okay. So given the data that we reviewed, giving the focus and the lens, the Guiding Coalition for Freedom came together, and this is the aim that we focused on this year. By the end of the 24-25 school year, Freedom Elementary will implement a structured professional learning community process focused on enhancing Tier 1 instruction for collective teacher efficacy. So that said, if you recall, Mr. Nevares is Hattie's research, so evidence-based research. Does anyone remember the effect size for collective teacher efficacy? 1.6, yeah. So the focus is that the reality is we decided that instead of touching on all these different pieces that we wanted to focus on, we'll focus and condense it on one process, because a PLC is a process, not a program, not a curriculum. It's really a daily, weekly, monthly process, year-long process. So just focusing on Tier 1 and then building from there. We hope that the effectiveness of that process will demonstrate an increased percentage of students meeting standard by 40% through regular collaborative planning, targeted professional development, and data-driven instructional adjustments. And you might think 40% is low. However, when you look at the data and we dove in deep, that's what they needed to either be at standard or exceeding standard. So that's how far off the majority, I would say 60% of our students were from meeting standard. We also came back to the vision and mission at the beginning of the year, which was developing lifelong learners through a safe, nurturing environment that meets the academic, social, and developmental needs of all students. And we decided to rewrite our mission, because when we did a survey on campus and we asked, what's our mission? Nobody knew the mission. Nobody knew the vision. So if we don't know the mission and vision, where are we going as a collective team, right? How do we build community and these systems of effectiveness? So the staff decided we wanted to condense that. And after multiple meetings, we condensed it down to all students learn at high levels. So regardless of where they are, they will demonstrate growth. And the idea and the goal is that they will demonstrate growth at grade level or higher. So now you know Freedom's new mission. All students learn at high levels. The rest of my presentation will focus on 3 goals that we are focusing on right now, which are aligned to our school plan for our SIPSA. And the name just skipped my mind. So goal number 1 focuses on academics. And so we did implement Tier 1 and Tier 2 this year. The goal is to increase student achievement for all students in subgroups in core content areas, which are ELA, ELD, math, social studies, and science, as measured by the CASP, LPAC, and district standard-based benchmarks. So this is the data we've been reviewing, anything we have from last year, but also the ongoing data we're collecting to determine where our students fall. At a glance, this is the work that Mr. Nevares was talking about, implementing the professional learning communities. So all of the different images you see in this slide deck are pieces of, it could be a document, it could be planning, it could be a pacing, it could be breaking down information for standards, it could be understanding how the PLC process works. This is the foundation that regardless who comes and goes to Freedom, whether it's teachers, staff, students, administrators, that'll be the foundation that remains to continue the work to get us where we ideally would like to be. So a lot of this process has been focusing on really understanding what Mr. Nevarez was saying, the 4 critical questions, right? What do we expect students to learn and know? That's the standards. So in order for us to teach it, our teachers have to understand it. So we've gone through that process of breaking them down. How will we know they have learned it? We have to know how we're going to assess that and what to do with that information once we get that. And how will we respond when they did learn it? And how will we respond when they did not? So those are the 4 critical questions that our staff reviews on a weekly basis and looks at the data to determine, back to your question, how do you know how many are meeting and how many are not? Okay. This is the teaching cycle we've been practicing on a weekly basis. Again, you see the 3 questions in red, and it guides us through this process of what exactly students must know, share learning targets with students. If they learn it, we proceed to expand. If they do not, we reteach. Okay, and then that could turn into tier 2 support, or it could be whole class reteaching. It just depends on the number of students. There's assessments along the way, there's adjustments to instruction along the way, and then there's expansion. Because it's not always about intervention, there's gotta be some expansion for those students who are also mastering those standards. Okay. Our team collectively also decided, hey, we're meeting every week. What should these PLTs look like? So the team came together and said, okay, we're going to design what the professional learning teams do. And so there are what we call the loose and tights. So the team decided to set a structure. Again, this is part of that foundational piece of developing our PLC. And so the tights are things that are non-negotiable. Every grade level team must do these for an effective learning, professional learning team. They must implement them on a weekly basis during that late start Monday. The loose component is these are negotiable. So it's at the discretion of the grade level lead and the team themselves. So there is teacher discretion within those learning communities and how they review that data and make adjustments to instruction. And this really helped kind of solidify what the work that is happening on a weekly basis and how to continue to adjust instruction. Goal number 2 focuses on creating a positive school culture, and so part of this is we focus on social-emotional. So the goal reads, provide comprehensive academic and social-emotional support systems to ensure students are provided with equitable opportunities to reach their full potential. So one thing we did this year is we had beautiful signs on campus, but nobody knew what they represented, so we went back and in different teams, we went over the signs, we reviewed what was on them, and we decided, is this what we want the future to look like for Freedom? So students got together and said, we need this, we don't need this. They adjusted classified staff, certificated staff, the administrative team, the office team. So next year we'll have new signs that focus on what the vision is for Freedom. So everyone had some input on that. And so there'll be some new rebranding with the expectations in full force at that time. For behavior as well, we've revamped what classroom behaviors, how classroom behaviors are managed, as well as office behaviors, and what the process is, because sometimes we had a full office, and so we had to restructure because we all need to make sure that we work as a team to support, whether it's social emotional, whether it's discipline. We wanted to make sure we had a system for that. And then an incentive for students. We have what we call the SOAR store. So our social worker developed the SOAR store where students can redeem the tickets they get for positive behavior. So they can purchase snacks, drinks, toys, knickknacks, whatever is available. Most of it is by donation. We take donations at any time. And so the interesting part is how valuable these, we print them on regular printing paper. Students have now brought items from home and began to sell them to their peers. So they matter and they mean something to them. And that's a different story, right? But it's something that they learn to value. And the store is run for kids, by kids. You can see the students that set up the store, the pricing, and then the young man at the bottom with the yellow notebook is doing inventory and counting tickets and the profits for the day. So we kind of go through that whole process of what it is to run a business. And then in order for them to get the job, they actually had to go through a real life interview with the community member, which I'll show some pictures shortly. Okay. Goal number 3 focuses on parent, student, and community engagement. It is to increase the level of engagement by parents, family, and community partners in the education of their children. So what I will be sharing for this goal is just all the different events and activities we added this school year to get parents on campus. Even if it was just to experience the new expectations, what's new to Freedom, what to expect. So in August, we initiated 4th grade first flight, where students came on campus and we went over the expectations, did a fun scavenger hunt, and they got to enjoy the campus with the parents and students. In September, we initiated our SOAR Awards, what we call our SOAR Awards, which are founded on character traits, as well as the top attendance class awards. So the top class for the month gets a trophy full of snacks with a certificate, and they also get some kind of party. It could be a popcorn, pizza, some kind of incentive, and they always look forward to that. In October, we included literacy, family, and student engagement. So we started promoting our accelerated reader program. So students were engaged in reading all over campus. Students who met their monthly goals participated in parties. So since October, moving forward, we've had different AR parties. So students who meet their reading goals can participate in the last hour of the day. We also started the family art night, where our student artwork was displayed, and they had different activities for the families provided by the school and the county office. So this is what I was talking about with the mock interviews, and for the students who work the SOAR store, we had the mayor, we had the chief, we had different business and community members come on out. We wanted to provide that experience for the students to feel what that feels and looks like. So you can see the young guy, Noah, on the bottom left corner. He had his resume. They practiced, so we had workshops prior to the interviews where we showed them what a resume looks like, how to dress for an interview, how to present, how to shake hands properly. And so all of the community members you see in that top picture, just leaders, directors, mayors of different organizations, because to us it's how do we connect with the community to make that real for the students, because they are our future. We also started what we call the turkey trot at Freedom, where we had, I believe, 16 frozen turkeys donated by FoodLink, and then we had pies donated by Marie Callender's. And so students got bibs. Anyone who signed up, no one was required, and they just raced around a designated area, and the winners got to take a frozen turkey home or a pie, whatever it might have been. And if you are interested in joining next year, please locate your finest blow-up costume and join us, because the teacher race does happen in a blow-up costume, and there are prizes. So feel free to join us. We also reinstated a school-wide winter show. So prior years, it had only been, I believe, 4th and 5th grade. This year, we included school-wide, and I think it was a hit. We learned a lot from, the first year, but I think the parents enjoyed it, the students enjoyed it, and it was just a good way to send them off to winter break and celebrate, in December. Great Kindness Week is something that the kids enjoyed, the teachers enjoyed. Our staff has a lot of spirit, and so it was just exciting. I think everyone's favorite day was 100th day of school, where everyone got to dress like they were 100 days old. We had a student rally. We had some motivational speakers come on out. Just a lot of fun for the kids just to get excited, prizes and things of that nature. In March, for those of you who attended, we had our Step Up team, all 5th graders, the youngest in the county to participate at the county level, to present their proclamation of peace. They worked on this project since September, culminating in March. They were able to acquire a proclamation of peace signed by the mayor that moving forward, every March 22nd is a day of peace in Farmersville, with the idea that it will continue to expand and grow. They're asking for peace and to eliminate violence and crime in our community, because 5 of our 6 schools are deemed to be in the higher crime areas of Farmersville. So they were very moved by the community testimonies, and they actually won the category of meeting the need in their community. So they came home with a check. So we hope to have them come maybe at the end of May to present for you. And then we also reinstated Eagle Leadership, which we call Eagle Leadership Academy. So our leaders this year were the ones that organized a lot of those events that I just reviewed. And they also felt it was time to retire the old Freedom logo. So that said, the 6th grade class, their legacy will be to leave you with the new Freedom Elementary logo that they selected, which will be that fine-looking eagle on the right versus the left side. So moving forward, that's what you'll see on our signs. And this is something that they're really proud of. And last but not least, one thing that we started is our social media, because for every one negative comment that comes out or perception of our schools, you need 5 positives. So it is my goal and our mission to really promote the great things that are happening at Freedom Elementary, and we appreciate the support. So commercial, if you're not following us, follow us on Instagram. And the ultimate goal, given multi-tiered systems of support, is that we aim to get recognized as a California PBIS Gold school for implementing adequate and effective PBIS systems. To be a model school for PLC, they're hefty, I know, but this is where we're going. And to eventually be a California Distinguished School and have that be reflected on the site of Freedom Elementary. Questions?
Mr. Zamora, if you could lift up your mic, make sure.
No, I'm good. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Yep, I have a question. It's of the beginning. I almost feel bad saying it 'cause after seeing all the cool stuff, I feel like I should compliment the cool stuff you guys are doing. Great job. I did go to the Peace Walk. That was awesome. You know, it was really fun. And all the other stuff going on makes me feel like I'm missing out. So that's pretty cool. You know, definitely try to make time for that. The only question I had was with the tier 1, like within the school year, when do you say like, okay, we're testing the kids 3 months into school. Okay, tier 1, boom, they all got it. Now, these individuals who did not get it, we have to put them on tier 2. Like, how many months into the school year do you guys say like, or I don't know, how does that work?
No, it's on a daily, weekly basis. It's not monthly. So per se, we screen the students at the beginning of the year with a literacy assessment and a math assessment. So that initially tells us where on the scope of proficiency they are. So then that determines how the teachers will begin planning or adjusting their lessons. So as they teach throughout the week, they're assessing and checking in. And let's say I taught a 40-minute lesson on the main idea of a text. And I'm able to, through the task in my lesson, I am able to say, hey, you know, Cindy, Freddie, and Luis did not get it. The rest can continue an activity on tier 1, and I pull those 3 to the back, and now that's considered tier 2 within that lesson. So it's kind of an ongoing cycle. It can happen within the day, within a week, or on a monthly basis. When we get to the point where if the teacher's been supplying that extra support and students are just really not grasping it, then we do have something that we call a pull-out model. So some students, through the SST process, are getting anywhere from 2 to 3 days a week for 30 minutes where they receive specific targeted literacy supports. So it just depends what that looks like.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That works.
Thank you.
I appreciate all the work you're doing. It's great.
Thank you.
You know, I'm there to help. Keep me busy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all the principals. I know it's not easy. So from a personal experience, I spoke with my son's teacher today, and it was really nice to hear the accountability. One of their, the things they do every week is to look at their Aries portal and see how many assignments they're missing. And I know my son came home and let me know, hey, I'm missing assignments. And so I left it up to him to determine, how are you going to resolve that? And so all I did was one message to the teacher. She called me today. We figured out how we were going to handle it, and boom, and he finished those. So it's really nice to see the teachers are there. Sometimes we have to reach out because we want to make sure our kids are doing the responsible thing, but sometimes they're not. So, but thank you for all that you guys are doing, and
Thank you for
you have the
sharing that.
COVID kids, first, second, third grade of COVID.
It's
So
our
to
COVID
see these,
bubble, yeah.
to see these numbers, start to grow is going to be nice. So
Right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Great information. When I went to the open house, I was glad to see that every teacher of the grade was teaching the same subject at the same time. So the projects were amazing. I think it was a science project that had a heart, and they had syringes to make it look like the blood was flowing.
It's great.
I was like blown away. It's like, I probably couldn't have thought of that, but we have some real critical thinkers on campus. It's great to see that they're encouraged. So thank you to all the staff. It takes everyone to make it, and we're gonna, for sure, Farmersville up, right, Mr. Mendez?
Absolutely.
And then I just want to close with, you started with, your goal is to create a positive culture and to support the conditions for learning through your teachers and students, of course, and your presentation definitely emulated that. And thank you for always talking about data. Both administrators, all administrators, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Going to move on to 8.0, public comments. Members of the public may address the board on any agenda item or other item of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board before or during the governing board's consideration of the item. The board is not able to discuss or take action on any item not appearing on the agenda. Pursuant to board policy, the board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. Please begin your comments by stating your name.
The board asks that during public comment, everybody be respectful to speakers. Members of the public should not interrupt or interject while other person is giving their public comment. During public comments, there shall be no use of foul language. Should a member of the public have a concern about a specific employee, we ask that you direct those concerns to myself after this meeting so that the concerns can be handled through the proper procedures. Please do not use employee or student names during public comments. The board is not able to discuss or take action on any item not appearing on the agenda. Individual comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes, and an individual topic no more than 20 minutes. Please begin your comments by stating your name. We do have Ms. Nora Alstead. Ms. Nora Alstead will be speaking on Fight for Schools rally. Thank you, Ms. Alstead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I heard Fight Club.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nora Alstead. I am the new Farmersville Teachers Association president. I also teach at both Hester and Snowden Elementary. Welcome, board members, administrators, and as somebody said earlier, my people, who thank you for being here. Before I talk about Fight for Schools, I want to say thank you, Mr. Navarez, for your presentation on Snowden. Everybody went to the Kagan training, including myself, and the work that our staff has done and how we're working together, I just have to say this year that we have snailed it. It's one of those things you'll learn if you go to that training. I also want to say that I understand the importance. I mean, I love music, but through music, that's a vehicle where we can help students with their math, with their reading skills. I mean, simply the fact that here's the words of a song up there. Let's learn to recognize those words. Let's sing that. But also at Snowden, we have a treat box in musics where we earn punches for various things. The top 2 items in our treasure box, number 1, are Pokemon cards, because who doesn't love a good Pokemon card? For those of you who don't know Pokemon, it teaches kids strategy. There's math skills involved in that. Number 2 is something I'm super proud of. It's comic books. I just recently, over spring break, turned my guest room into a comic room because I now personally own over 10,000 comic books. And here's a little plug. Saturday, May 3rd is free comic book day. There is a comic book store in Visalia on Mooney Boulevard. They will open at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they will be giving away free comic books. And there are comic books appropriate for kindergarten through 12th grade. So if you have a child, take your child to the comic book store on Saturday and pick up some free comic books for them to read. Now, why I really came here this evening. Fight for Schools. This is all about the federal government's potential plan on closing the Department of Education, which in itself then is going to mean a loss of a lot of federal funds. I don't know if anybody here, other than myself, has been to the Department of Education in DC. I've been 3 times. I have actually gone to trainings there during the summer. I agree the Department of Education needs some major changes. Okay, there's a lot of waste there. It's just like anything with the government. I mean, I'd love to have some of the furniture that they have. Be pretty sweet to have some of that. But we can't afford to lose. So what I have given the board members is what this will mean for Tulare County should we lose all of our federal funds. It's a lot of money. On Saturday, May 17th, in Hanford, there is going to be a rally called Fight for Our Schools. There are 5 of these across the state of California: Los Angeles, San Diego, Sacramento, San Francisco, and right here in the Central Valley. Now, some of you may go, well, why Hanford? Why not Visalia? Why not Fresno? Little larger communities. Here's the reality. Congressman David Valadao doing it at Hanford is in his backyard. He has been invited to come. At this point, he has said he will try and be there. If he can't, to send a staffer. We've also invited Congressman Fong to come. We have some speakers lined up. We are going to start at the park, Civic Park in Hanford, which, if you know where Superior Dairy is, that's the park that's right across the street. At 11 a.m., we will have some speakers. Then we will walk down to David Valadao's office, which is about a 10-minute walk from the park. Right now, it looks like Dolores Huerta will be our final speaker of the day. This is all about telling our congressman, hey, you need to look at what you're doing. Our schools are important. Our students are important. Tulare County cannot afford to lose $180 million in funding. I don't have it tonight. I will have it in the next few days, a breakdown of Farmersville's funding. CTA is working on all districts in Tulare County. So if you would like to see those numbers, I will have something very similar to this that shows total funding, the breakdown on CTE, the breakdown on food. You know, this is really important, and this should be something that we're doing together. So I invite you all to come out. We already have a little over 1,000 people registered to be there, so parking is going to be of a premium. There will be parking at Sierra Pacific High School starting at 9:45, and a shuttle bus that runs every 15 minutes between Sierra Pacific and the park. And the last bus going back will run 30 minutes after all the festivities are over. So please come and join us, because this is important to all of us, because this is important to our schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, thank you really don't have any comments. I think most of the comments were shared by Mr. Navarez and by Dr. Monroy, but I do want to add one thing so we can move along with our meeting. Dr. Monroy talked about the annual Step Up Challenge. And I got an opportunity to witness that. Not only did Freedom School have a team, but Deep Creek Academy also was there. And so Dr. Monroy alluded to a prize. They won $1,000. It's a $1,000 check, and obviously we know the importance of the two plans that were put together by students. The idea is to get something that doesn't just live for 1 year, but it's a continual thing. And I think that's the reason why Freedom School was elected for that I was gonna say 100,000, that $1,000 award. Because, I mean, they have a day of peace in Farmersville, that's huge. And then the spring guitar concert, I think that's also going to be together with music. Is that correct? Not.
The band and choir will be on Tuesday and the guitar on Thursday.
But Mr. Nelson is going to have over 100 students presenting. And one of the things that he talked about was classical, flamenco, Spanish folk, Sierreno, video games, and world music. So we're going to have over 100 guitar students being able to play, all of those different types of music presented to our people here in Farmersville. And then reading on the lawn. This Cinco de Mayo over at Hester School, that's a huge thing for Hester. If I remember correctly, everybody also gets dressed up for Cinco de Mayo, but it's also a fantastic opportunity for parents to show up. And, we talk about literacy across Farmersville. It's super important that at those foundational levels that we focus on reading with our students. What a beautiful way to have parents come out on the lawn and read with their students. And then again, the mother-son dance over at Farmersville Junior High School. I think that's an annual thing. They do a father-daughter dance, and now this is the second part, which is a mother-son dance. And that's happening, I believe, next week, the 2nd? I believe next week. I'll get some more information. But if you do want to participate in that, you do have to purchase
happened.
tickets.
I think it happened already.
It was last weekend. It was last night? Last Saturday. Looks like I missed out on that one.
You still buy tickets though, right?
You
Right
can still buy
back.
tickets. Oh, I'm a day late and $1 short on that one. Okay, but I also want to just say thank you to the principals tonight. You guys did a fantastic job representing your sites. That was huge. You used data, you talked about the aims, and you focused on students and your staff, which is huge. So we look forward to continuing the support and growth of our students' success, and great things are happening at Farmersville, so farmers go up.
Thank you. Go on to 10.0, K-8 issues. 10.1, approval of SPSA revision to move Title I funds.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, and the second was by Merced Zamora. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 10.2, approval of field trip to CATA Conference to Cal Poly, June 22nd through 26th, 2025 in San Luis Obispo, California.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion by Freddie Espinoza, second by John Alvarez. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 10.3, approval of field trip to the Getty Center on May 27th, 2025 in Los Angeles, California.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Freddie Espinoza, second by Merced Zamora. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 11.0, high school issues. 11.1, approval of donation from LP West Logistics for Farmersville High School athletics program.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Sabrina Gomez, second by Freddie Espinoza. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Gonna abstain?
Yep.
That's 401, with Mr. Alvarez abstaining. A nice thank you for their donation.
Mm-hmm.
11.2, approval of high school guitar presentation at the next board meeting on May 13th, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mercedes Zamora, second by Freddie Espinoza. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are there any questions? Make sure you put that on your calendar. Hopefully you'll all be here, right, anyway? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. 11.3, approval of high school CTE agricultural pathway concrete slab as foundation for new hog and rabbit facility.
Motion, I thought we were,
Yeah, so 11.4, there was an error earlier with the messaging. 11.3 is a go, 11.4 was the one that was removed.
okay, correct. Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mercedes Zamora, second by John Alvarez. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. $11.5, approval of high school field trip to CSU Monterey Bay, May 15th, 2025, in Monterey, California.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Freddie Espinoza. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. 11.6, approval of TRIO summer program students to attend College of the Sequoias, June 9th, 2025 through July 18th, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mercedes Zamora, second by Freddie Espinoza. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. $12.0 curriculum. 12.1, approval to attend Avid Summer Institute July 30th through August 1st, 2025 in San Diego, California.
Motion.
Second.
There is a correction on the transportation. It should read 29 cents per mile.
But the math adds up, so.
Motion remains correct?
Yes.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5.0. Or 5-0, sorry. 12.2, approval of inter-district attendance agreement, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2030.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Mercedes Zamora. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. 12.3, approval of Sandy Hook Promise Agreement.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Freddie Espinoza. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Are there any questions? All in
Bless you.
favor?
Bless you.
Bless you.
Aye.
Aye.
Did I call for it? All in favor? Just in
Aye.
case.
Aye.
Opposed?
Too quick a little recount.
Motion carried 5-0. I was caught between the bless you and the ayes, I don't know. 12.4, approval of 2025-26 Solution Tree Contract.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Mercedes Zamora. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 13.0, personnel. 13.1, approval of certificated personnel, item 13.1.1 through item 13.1.6.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Freddie Espinoza,
Correct.
correct? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. We'd like to recognize Jesus Zavala, who will be our new elementary principal. Welcome.
Good evening. On behalf of my tiny family, Maria Belen, who is 2 years old, Jose Miguel, who's 4 years old, Juan Pablo, who's 7, and my lovely wife, Roxana, I want to thank you for allowing me to be adopted into this family. Yo soy de Mendota, California, so I'm from Mendota, the cantaloupe capital of the world. Ironically, it's the Aztecs too, and so I'm very comfortable with the Aztecs and the culture. I'm excited to hear my colleagues speak about RTI, PBIS, MTSS. That's my language in Mendota, as well as Lindsay. And so I'm excited to start to converse with the team at Hester and to collaborate with you all. And so thank you again, and muchas gracias.
Thank you very much for being here. Welcome.
Cool.
13.2, approval of classified personnel, item 13.2.1 through item 13.2.4.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Sabrina Gomez. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. Approval of extracurricular personnel, item 13.3.1 through item 13.3.3.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Mercedes Zamora. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
I to 13.3.1 and 13.3.2, except 13.3.3. That's no.
So you're abstaining from 13.3.3?
I'm voting a no.
Oh, a no.
Yes.
So it's 5-0 on 13.1 and 13.3.2.
Two?
Yes.
Yep.
And 4-1 on 13.3.3.
Yes. 13.3.1, 13.3.2
Two.
are 5-0s,
Yes.
Yes.
and 13.3.3 is 4-1.
4-1.
4-1, correct. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Just as stated,
Yes.
just to make sure we got it. 13.4, personnel action report, information only. 13.5, adoption of resolution number 18-04-29-25 for placing a classified employee on a 39-month reemployment list.
Motion?
Second.
I have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Sabrina Gomez. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. 13.6, approval of nurse internship program and supervised field work agreement between Capella University and Farmersville USD. Motion.
Second?
We have a motion by Sabrina Gomez, second by John Alvarez. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. 14.0, Board Business. 14.1, consideration of any item any member of the board wishes to have on a future agenda or provide a written update. Mr. Zamora?
None at this time.
Espinoza?
Nope.
Alvarez?
I'd like to get a bond report.
A bond report?
Yeah, the bond issue, money, programs, list of things. I know we discussed this already.
Yes,
If we could get something, that would be great.
yes, we do have that calendar, Mr. Alvarez. We're compiling all the information, so
Okay.
we have an accurate report.
All right, thank you.
Was that it?
Yes.
Nothing at this time.
And I have nothing at this time either. Thank you. 15.0, Business Services. 15.1, Maintenance Department efforts to support grounds upkeep across FUSD. I believe we have a presentation or something.
Mr. Melendez?
Good afternoon, board members, staff, administrators, teachers. Just want to let you guys know, we are trying to maintain our grounds for, one, our safety of our students, and two, the parents, to maintaining, the ongoing upkeep of our facilities. What I've been doing is, one, I gotta appreciate the team I have, my MOT staff on our challenges right now. We have a lot of construction on board right now. A lot of the usage of the high school, making sure the practices are being attended with good conditions of our fields for our students to use. We are working with, one, site principals to having scheduling with our events, sports, and so on. Or also, after-school program. Our usage of our fields are being really compacted right now. So trying to make sure that we get our practice fields conditioned, mainly at the high school, trying to get all our chemicals put in place. There is somewhat of a shortage of pre-emergents and stuff like that, and with the amount of usage that we have on our facilities right now, we're trying to make sure that we could apply these. One effect that we have too is our weather. It's been on and off, hot, cold, so we're trying to find what's a good time so we could irrigate the grounds, prepare it, and so they're conditioned right. We are presently gonna start looking at irrigation, our new water out system that we have at Freedom, put that to test and see how our sprinkler irrigation is gonna be supportive with our high school site. As you know, we have after-school programs at Snowden School, and with the after-school program, soccer use, we're trying to figure out how to time that correctly to maintain, not over soak, so they can also use. But I've been working with that school program coordinators, letting them know, hey, we're doing our best to try to keep up. Again, with our irrigation systems, we're trying to do improvements. We've done a couple years. We've implemented a new irrigation system so we could schedule it correctly, get better watering in place, and try to maintain that. Again, we have projects, Haster School, we're, with construction going on, that's gonna be affecting our location to be able to utilize and rotate the use of our facilities. But put in place is, put in pre-emergence, trying to work with our team right now on how to, again, there's cost involved as well on sprinklers and availability of supplies right now. So we are doing our best to try to facilitate that. We are first always looking to see what events are being put in place to accommodate during school activities, after school activities, and our sports. But we are trying to prepare, we get a lot of uses at high school. Our graduation is coming up, try to get that green and beautified. So with you guys' patience, I appreciate, we are doing our best, what we have right now, to maintain our facilities. But, that's where I'm at right now with, keeping our facilities right now. Again, being patient with this right now, construction site and availability of equipment right now. So, any questions?
So I know that the last time we were here, we were talking about the soccer in Snowden.
Yes.
How's the fields been coming along the last couple of games we've had there?
Yeah, so they're doing a lot better than last year. I know we have, again, we're trying to do a lot of aerating, punching the holes out so it expands, so you get more water moisture in there. We improved on the control system for irrigation, trying to get a guide, maintain that, and keep an eye out with our day custodios, and a rotation of making sure we have it cut for the after-school program that the club team that's out there as well. You know, we're trying to make sure we accommodate it for our students first, right? Over soaking, not good. But again, you know, we have a lot of compaction in there, so trying to schedule those things, make sure they're properly maintained.
Mr. Zamora, if I can add to that, last year was a bit of an anomaly. We had a timer, or a control timer that went out, and obviously we've upgraded that timer. And I know Tony and his team is answering the call. We have weekly, sometimes monthly, depending on the need of the sites, meetings with site principals, and they're walking the halls. So we're changing. There are a lot of practices that we're working on. We talk about being progressive and data-driven. Our principals also understand the importance of having safe, clean environment for students
Correct.
and staff members. We recognize that from the outside looking in, right? We got to tell our story. And so he's answering the call. He's working with the team members that we do have. They are valued employees, staff members, and family members that are working, you know, diligently to answer that call. So
Correct. One of our impacts, like as I was going to explain to you, is on construction too, is there at Snowden, our irrigation had shut down for 2-3 weeks because it was tying in to close our fence line. So we had to shut that system down, keep from water going down to our new pavement location. Those are kind of the effects where it dries out, we try to play catch up. Hester, it's all tied into the new construction, which our new TK classrooms are being put in place. But it's coming back around. We're slowly coming back around with try to get our facilities back green.
our ask of Mr. Melendez is the MOTF is to get a calendar and schedule that and make sure that each and every outside agency that partners with us is on that calendar, right? And so he's working with Farmersville High School, Farmersville Junior High School in particular, because they're the ones that have these sports. And then their facilities are the ones that are being asked to be used other than Snowden because of the location. But we have to have an artifact, something we can call back to and say, yes, we have an open slot, or no, we don't have an open slot. And I think we are all in agreement with the presentation we had last week that we understand the importance of partnering with our outside agencies, soccer, softball, cheer, whatever it may be, because they are our students. You know, they're just not participating during Monday through Friday. It's a Saturday, Sunday thing where they're utilizing our facilities. But we have to be very proactive. That way we don't run down our facilities. So that's what the ask of Mr. Melendez and his team is, and we're working towards a plan.
That plan is being worked. We're putting schedules together, working with our team and availability, again, with all you guys' programs. Try to make our community, one, to be able to serve our community, but first our students as well, too. But, yeah.
Nice. Yep. My turn? Nice. Yeah, I think everything's good. I think the only thing I want to make sure we don't forget is kind of like the things we brought up during the walkthrough, kind of like the trees at the junior high affecting the water hole there. So then that way we're not running into those issues. And then also looking out for those rocks that were at
Snowden.
Snowden?
Yes.
And then just
We're gonna attend to that this summer. Again, we know we got smaller ones going in, addressing that so that it's not becoming a safety issue. Yes, and our trees, we have tended to our trees there at junior high.
Oh, nice.
Unfortunately, there was one other tree that we wanted to, unfortunately, had to take down because of rooting systems. You know, we're looking out to preserve what trees we have right now. Working with a good company right now, but if those roots are affecting the walkways, safety issues, irrigation, communication lines, unfortunately, we're gonna have to remove that tree. Again, looking into putting a new tree, maybe in that same area, if it doesn't affect it, the rooting system, the type of the tree as well too. Yes.
For me, myself, it's, you know,
Move
there,
up, move up, close. That way they can hear you.
So I'm gonna pull this too.
don't talk loud enough, so it is.
No.
For me, it's only emergency stuff, you know what I mean? Things that kids could get hurt on and things of that nature. I mean, grass is what it is, stickers are what they are, you know?
Yes.
We've all grown up with that. So keeping in contact, maybe having the coaches and things like that, keep in contact on the emergency stuff. Sometimes the grass isn't the right height and things of that nature. I mean, that's beside the point. But you have a big hole in the ground or you got a puddle, you know, or something like that. I mean, otherwise, I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah, well, thank you. You know, be proactive. So that's one of the things I have with our team. There's an event, I have day custodian, our whole team. Let's go see what's out there. It's unsafe, what's its fencing, lighting, et cetera. Sprinklers, it could be a pop-up sprinkler. You know, we don't want those incidents to occur, so, yes.
Just to let you know, I tied up a batting cage today so the balls wouldn't fly through the spectators. So anyway, we're good.
Thank you.
When we have outside users request the facilities, does it run through your team? Like, do you see the transmittal or the
So the
request?
facilities report comes to me first.
Uh-huh.
So that's one thing I'm looking at, is creating that schedule, making sure that
Perfect.
everything's aligned. First, for our students' activities, that
Mhm.
doesn't interfere, and if it's available, we'll see what's available there. Conditions of the fields as well, too.
Yeah, so make sure, like, once you have your calendar and everything scheduled on there, you can let them know, hey, these are blackout days.
You know,
This-
that's one thing we need to create right, and get that rest period,
Yeah,
get the irrigation, we go to aerate it, put some pre-emergence, grass seed it
Mhm.
to, you know, start beautifying.
do not be afraid to say no.
Well, thank you.
That's it for me.
I think we've made it very clear that if we need to work on a field, we will ask them or let them know in advance that they're gonna have to practice somewhere else or play somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because it is important that our fields be taken care of. When we're talking about the football field, make sure you don't over-irrigate it for graduation. We don't want all those ugly bugs all over us.
Oh, seeds start sinking and so on, no, for sure, yes.
Is the watering schedule also provided to the principals so they know exactly when that water is gonna come on and let you know, or vice versa? You know, you should
Yeah,
have
correct.
people out
So, you know, building in, again, that schedule, I will share that with the side principals. That way, there's an event, so on, they're gonna use it after-school program as well. So, you know, we're not watering during the day or those occupied hours. Again, the special, control system I put in the high school is called Pelican, which is kind of what we use for thermostats. It sets schedules, so I could cycle it and I could watch it, how many times it comes on and on. The best thing about the system too is I don't have 2-3 guys to sit there and try to see which sprinklers it are working and one not working. So when somebody mows, they get cycled on and see there's a broken sprinkler, so we could flag it and then make a work order and get that taken care of. Yes.
I really do appreciate, there's been a big difference
Well, thank you.
in all the sides, and I really thank you and your crew, your team. It's looking a lot better, and like I said, if you have to say no, you will have our support because we want to make sure our.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
facilities-
Much appreciated, yes.
Okay.
Again, great team I have, you know, without the team, we wouldn't be where we're at. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
15.2, fire alarm system change order, ELOC.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Merced Zamora. Is that correct?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 15.3, ratification of service agreement for Colby System, simplifies compliance with CUPCA adherence.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Sabrina Gomez. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 15.4, ratification for Sierra Range Construction change order for Hester School TKK modular buildings.
Motion?
Second.
Motion by John Alvarez, second by Merced Zamora. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 16.0, other business. 16.1, approval of legal services agreement for the Tulare County Office of Education Legal Services Consortium.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Sabrina Gomez. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-all. 17.0, future meeting dates, 17.1, May 13th, 2025, and May 27th, 2025. Everyone going to be here?
Yes.
Okay.
Our
Schedule
graduations.
anything, make sure you let our superintendent know to make sure we have a quorum for
Okay.
all meetings,
Our,
okay?
our
I'll let 'em-
graduation's the
I'll let 'em
following
know.
week, from the May 27th, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just FYI, wanna make sure. 20.0, adjournment to closed session at 8:37 PM to discuss 20.1, conference with labor negotiator GC 54957.6. It is the intention of the board to meet in closed session to review its position and to instruct its designated rep, agency designated representative Manuel Mendez, name of organization FTA/CSEA/management. 20.2, public employee discipline dismissal release complaint, Government Code 54957. 20.3, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D, 2, and E of section 54956.91 case. Thank you very much.
Thank
You're welcome to stay, but you also are welcome to leave. Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you, everybody. Have a
Thank
fantastic
you.
evening. Thank you for being here. Mr. Zavala, welcome to Farmers Unified School District.
Welcome.
Okay, we're returning into open session at 9:23. 21.0, action taken on closed session items. 21.1, conference with labor negotiator GC 54957.6. It is the intention of the board to meet in closed session to review its position and instruct its designated rep, agency designated representative Manuel Mendez, name of organization, FTA/CSEA/management, no action taken. 21.2, public employee discipline dismissal release complaint, no action taken. 21.3, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigations, and significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D, 2, and E of section 54956.91 case, no action taken. 22.0, adjournment at 9:24.
Motion?
We have a motion by John Alvarez, second by Sabrina Gomez. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you all for coming. Have a good